Look, I've always wanted to work with Tom. Tom and I have been circling around each other with the idea of doing a project together for many years, and we have very similar taste and sensibility, I think, in terms of characters that we've played and worlds that we've been involved in. So in many ways it just seemed I loved his performance in Venom 1, so I was so excited to get the call. And then he and Kelly Marcel, his writing partner, who wrote the script, when I read the script, I just thought this is such a lovely progression from the first film, because now we really get into the characters, and that was so. Yeah, I mean, it didn't take long for me to say yes. We wanted to make a film that was like a roller coaster ride that moves very quickly, and that has it's a very muscular story, and we wanted to get to Carnage, and have that storyline evolve quickly, but there was a lot there were two it's a film of two halves in many ways. It's obviously it's about the relationship of Eddie and Venom, and having the time to explore their developing relationship and the bromance between them, and the necessity, he is the perfect host for Venom, but at the same time they both have very different agendas, and so there's that part of the story, and then of course the unleashing of Carnage. So we just really wanted to have the momentum of getting Cletus turning into Carnage happen quickly, so that those two storylines could flow with each other. But it really, I wouldn't have wanted to have made it much longer, because it hopefully leaves the audience wanting more. Eddie, where we leave Eddie at the end of the first movie is they're sort of agreeing to disagree in a way, that they're going to continue to be with each other, but how they're going to get on, who knows? And then we sort of almost drop in 2 years later, and they've been through a lot together. They've been living together in secret in Eddie's apartment, and Venom is he's a straight talker, and he just doesn't like the idea of keeping their existence secret. He wants to go out there, he wants to be the lethal protector, he wants to kill, get bad guys and be a dutiful citizen in a way, do his job now he's here on Earth. Eddie just wants to keep him quiet, and he wants to get back to normal, to be to have all the things that a normal human being has, a good job, a career, maybe get a girlfriend. He wants to resume his life, and so they're both agendas sort of are opposite, and they can live with each other, but they can't live with each other, and that kind of antagonism is what, of course, was exciting to explore. And then at the moment where they do, finally it builds to a moment where they can't, they're arguing with each other, and then pops is the moment where they need each other the most, and that is of course when Carnage comes to life. So it's that's really thematically, and then really the film is about symbiotes and how they work with or don't work with their hosts, and they are a match. Eddie and Venom are a perfect match, so they can't not be together. But Carnage and Cletus are not matched particularly well, and that's why ultimately, they become dangerous. Well, Carnage, is a very dark character, and of course, the comic book fans would be expecting something very, twisted and dark and menacing and dangerous and R-rated, but we wanted to make this film for a wide audience. So I think we've pushed it about as far as we can go, and I think he does have that kind of twisted, wicked malevolence, but it's a different kind of energy. As a symbiote, he has a different energy to Venom, who is, as I say, he's solid and like a American football player, whereas the physicality for Carnage was much more, it reflected the twisted psychology of Cletus Cassidy. So he's slippery, and the way that he moves is using his tendrils, and the way he weaponizes and all of those things. It's a lot more, it would be hard for Venom to meet him head on, because because Carnage is always able to sort of outwit him and using his twisted psychology find ways of threatening Venom. So that was the kind of the dynamic. We did use performance capture in the testing phase of finding out how he would move to get some real physics into the body language, and we had a number of days of exploration. But actually, he's not humanoid enough for the most part. He changes shape. He's a shapeshifter. And he's more like a sort of a squid with many tendrils, or an kind of quite octopus-like in the way he moves, and he doesn't just walk on 2 feet. So none of the real physical kind of human dynamics you would bring to a character with performance capture felt relevant in this case. So having said that, we wanted to make both of these symbiotes have to feel like you can relate to them and that they're real and believable, and that was achieved but through the great cinematography of Bob Richardson, who of course is one of the world's greatest DOPs and someone who I've worked with before and love, and Sheena Dougal, who is the head of visual effects. The way we designed Carnage was we looked a lot at all of the comics to look at all of the different way that he moves and exists, and how he changes his molecular structure and shape shifts. So that was the big challenge, and then making him photoreal, and in the sense that blending him, given that they're so extreme, these symbiotes and how they look, trying to blend them and integrate them into the environments. From my perspective, there's so much more to be had out of the Venomverse before going to the Spider-Verse. So we're just concentrating on what happens at this moment in time, because the relationships are still where Eddie and Venom go next. Is a really interesting and big question, and who knows?